Hello, welcome to the Friendly Critic Podcast. My name is Jack Murphy, and I am the host and creator of this podcast. Today, just want to do a little introduction into my thoughts on what this podcast will be, how I want to format the episodes, and just my overall idea for why I wanted to start this podcast. So I am, just an average guy, and I wanted to do this for fun, talk about movies and film, TV, what have you. And I thought of this name, The Friendly Critic, because I was thinking that, you know, movie critics in general, at least all of the reviews that I read, they're kind of like super serious, take themselves too serious, what have you. And I kind of want to just have this podcast to be talking about podcasts from a general person's standpoint, a general audience member, especially. And in that same vein, if I have any guests on, which I hope to have some guests on, to get their perspective as an audience member, as themselves a critic. So that's kind of my thinking for calling it the Friendly Critic, just because it's more of a casual, laid back and not take yourself too seriously, but also provide criticism of movies, right? Film, TV. Um, and yeah, I just want to get good discussions going about a topic that I really enjoy and like talking to people about. And I think definitely ramble to my wife about, which is movies and my reviews of movies. And um, I'll sometimes like to, write my reviews on Letterboxd, which, if you guys don't know about that app, I think is cool. You can check me out on there if you want to. Shameless plug. Um, but yeah, it's kind of my idea for the podcast. So I was thinking it would be fun just to have people on, uh, talk about what they like in a movie, what their top 5 movies are, maybe top genres, what genres that they like. But then also, I think it can be free flowing, right? Like it could be going into uh, maybe if they like the cinematography, maybe if they like the way certain scenes feel, how they look, how they sound, maybe the uh, soundtrack. So I think it'd be fun just to talk about it from a casual sense, right? I don't have any training, or don't have any technical know-how into really how movies and TV are made. Um, I'm a software engineer by trade, so I do appreciate the technical aspect, definitely, but I'm not going to be one to provide in-depth analysis into, how a movie is made. But I definitely respect it. Um, and I'd say I'd appreciate the writing of movies probably the best, right? Like I go for more of a good story, interesting story versus uh, like a flashy or super action packed kind of movie. But on the same token, if I have guests on or there's certain movies that come out, right? Um, just thinking for off the top of my head, like as of right now, the new Top Gun Maverick movie came out, right? Everyone's raving about that. I haven't seen it yet. Um, I kind of want to go see it, but you know, when I think of that, at least, I'm not thinking it's gonna be some movie with great writing or uh, you know super in-depth analysis on any life-changing topics, but at the same time, I can appreciate, that it's a fun movie. There's the nostalgia factor. There's cool action and cool planes and jets and Tom Cruise looking cool playing volleyball. So I get the appeal. So I'm not gonna downplay anyone's fandom of certain movies, right? Certain genres or certain specific movies. So I think it'd be interesting just to hear people's thoughts on any movies that they like. Um, so yeah, I was thinking would have people that I know, obviously family. Hopefully, get my wife on to talk, maybe as my first guest. She'll probably reluctantly agree, but then just some friends, hopefully, um, and just see where it goes from there. Right, I'm also don't really have a set schedule. Probably, I think it'd be cool to do once a week for uploads. But life happens, so I'm not really sticking to a set schedule at the moment, I would say. Um, and yeah, I think I don't know. I've kind of clarified already, but doing this for fun, obviously, hobby kind of podcaster, starting out, have no idea what I'm doing. Um, but yeah, I think it just be thought it was a fun idea. Definitely know I'm not a professional. Think I kind of conveyed that idea that it's friendly critic, casual discussion, but hopefully, entertaining. I mean, I don't know. Uh, I don't know how it is to listen to myself talk, and maybe it will get old as I'm having to listen to my recordings and edit. But we'll see what happens. Maybe get into some interesting topics or have some really good discussions with guests. So that's my hope, at least. Yeah, I'm not trying to start this for getting big or making money or anything like that. I just appreciate the having some avenue for creativity. I think it's a good challenge. I think it will help my brain. Um, and yeah, I think it's fun. Obviously, I wanted to mention also that with this podcast, um, I've heard and seen a lot of different podcasts, at least about movies in their descriptions, talking about the latest movies or the current movies out there, right? And talking about the blockbuster hits kind of thing. My thoughts on this podcast are, if I'm interested in that, maybe I'll bring it up, but it's not going to be like a weekly discussion on the blockbuster films that are out this week or the current slate of now playing movies, right? I think if I do get into that, it'll maybe more be on the independent film side. Um, but yeah, my real hope and desire is more to just talk about any movies I like or any movies in general. Um, so it's not gonna really be a weekly like what's the current state of movies, what's out there today to go see. And maybe I'll touch on that here and there. Um, but yeah, at least in the moment, what I'm thinking of, and kind of, I've had this idea for a bit, is how that's how I want to separate myself, I guess, and distinguish myself from other movie podcasts that I've seen on Spotify and Apple and stuff like that. Is that, I want this to be just purely movie discussion of all kind, right? All kinds. I don't want this to be just the kind of movie news podcast or what's going on today in movies. So I think it'd be fun, more fun for me that way. And that way, and it still keeps it casual, right? I don't have to be up to date on my research on the latest movies. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that at least. But yeah, all that is to say, I hope you enjoy this podcast. It's kind of a little intro, short episode. Um, and yeah, I'm looking to, go in depth on certain topics as best as I can while still remaining, the friendly critic, casual, uh, hopefully fun discussions. Thanks for checking out this podcast and stay tuned for more.